It started with silence. No warning, no error. Just Phil Michno's phone, dead. 3 Bitcoin, worth over $100,000 and years of careful saving, vanished in minutes. No break-in, no high-tech hacking, only one terrifying fact. Someone had stolen everything using his phone number. Phil wasn't a celebrity or tech mogul. He was an ordinary man, quietly investing in Bitcoin to secure his family's future. For years, he had treated these coins as a long-term investment, sacrificing small pleasures and managing money meticulously. Stored in a Coinbase account with SMS two-factor authentication, he believed they were safe. But the very phone number meant to protect him became the key to his devastating loss. Phil's story isn't unique. SIM swap attacks are rising, preying on ordinary people and exposing vulnerabilities we often take for granted. Phil's 3 Bitcoin, purchased years earlier, had quietly grown into a life-changing fortune. By 2021, their value had surpassed $100,000, representing the financial security he had long dreamed of. Phil wasn't chasing trends or gambling on risky speculation. He held his investment patiently, confident in cryptocurrency's long-term potential. Each coin wasn't just digital, it was a promise of stability, funding his daughter's college, paying off debts, and providing a safety net for unforeseen challenges. He monitored the market cautiously, but never sold, trusting his Coinbase account secured with SMS-based two-factor authentication. This sense of security, however, was his greatest vulnerability. Phil followed every recommended security measure: strong passwords, a reputable exchange, and verification codes. He believed only a hacker with advanced skills could reach his assets. In reality, all an attacker needed was control of his phone number. Hackers didn't need to breach complex encryption. They only needed the number tied to his authentication. The first warning signs were subtle. One morning, Phil found his phone showing no service, unable to make calls or send messages. He assumed a network glitch and tried restarting, changing locations, and different Wi-Fi connections. But nothing worked. Meanwhile, hackers were silently taking over. Alerts he expected, password resets, login confirmations, security codes, were already being redirected to the attackers. Phil felt uneasy, but had no idea the disaster had begun. Years of careful investment were about to vanish in minutes. What Phil didn't realize was that his phone number had been transferred to a new SIM card in the hands of attackers. Through social engineering, they convinced his carrier they were Phil, providing just enough personal information to authorize the transfer. Within minutes, his phone went dead, and all authentication codes were rerouted directly to the criminals. The SIM swap attack was deceptively simple, exploiting human error rather than technical hacking. Phil's reliance on SMS-based two-factor authentication had become his greatest vulnerability. In an instant, control of his digital identity, communication, and finances was stolen. Within moments, the attackers accessed his Coinbase account. Using intercepted two-factor codes, they bypassed every security measure with ease. Password resets and login confirmations were automatically redirected, leaving Phil locked out. When he tried to log in, his credentials had already been changed. Meanwhile, the hackers methodically transferred his Bitcoin across multiple wallets, beginning the laundering process to make recovery nearly impossible. Phil's attempts to intervene came too late. Every passing second allowed the attackers to deepen their control. The quiet digital theft was completed in minutes, leaving behind only confusion, disbelief, and the crushing realization that the secure system he had trusted had catastrophically failed. Years of careful saving, painstaking discipline, and financial planning were gone, vanished in the blink of an eye, taken not by a breach of technology, but by the simplest, most human of vulnerabilities. The reality of the theft hit Phil when he finally glimpsed his account balance. It was zero. 3 Bitcoin, accumulated and carefully protected over years, had been completely drained. The attackers had moved the funds through multiple wallets, bouncing them across the blockchain in a way designed to conceal their trail. Every strategy Phil had taken to secure his assets, every precaution and security measure, was rendered useless by the simplicity of the SIM swap attack. In a matter of minutes, his life savings had disappeared, leaving behind nothing but empty balances and a haunting sense of loss. Phil contacted Coinbase immediately, providing screenshots, account details, and proof of ownership, but he was met with the stark reality of cryptocurrency. Once transferred, digital assets cannot be reversed. The permanence of blockchain transactions offered no protection. Phil's money, representing years of effort, hope, and planning, had been taken irreversibly, a devastating reminder of how quickly a single vulnerability in a digital system could erase an entire fortune. Once the theft became undeniable, Phil immediately began contacting his mobile carrier, Coinbase, and law enforcement. His first call to the carrier confirmed the devastating truth. His number had been successfully ported to a SIM card controlled by the attackers. The carrier acknowledged the transfer but had no immediate way to reverse it. Next, Phil reached out to Coinbase, explaining the situation and providing proof of account ownership, yet the response was sobering. Cryptocurrency transactions, once executed, cannot be undone. Desperate for resolution, Phil filed reports with local police and submitted complaints to the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center. Investigators began tracing the transactions, but the digital nature of cryptocurrency and the methods used to launder the stolen funds made recovery unlikely. Amid the paperwork and phone calls, Phil experienced an overwhelming sense of helplessness. His trusted systems and security measures had failed him. Beyond the financial loss, he faced a profound emotional toll, knowing that his life savings could be gone forever, stolen by criminals who had exploited nothing more than his phone number. Phil quickly learned the harsh reality of cryptocurrency. Once funds are moved, they are effectively irretrievable. The attackers had already transferred his 3 Bitcoin through a series of wallets, intentionally obscuring the trail. Many of these addresses were connected to mixers and tumblers, services that blend digital coins from multiple sources, making it nearly impossible to trace the origin. Some funds were moved to exchanges in foreign countries, further complicating recovery efforts. While blockchain technology is transparent, showing every transaction publicly, identifying the individuals behind the transfers is exceedingly difficult. Even with law enforcement involvement, the decentralized nature of cryptocurrency means that stolen assets can vanish into digital anonymity within minutes. For Phil, this meant that his savings were gone in a permanent, irreversible way. The experience revealed a sobering truth. In the digital age, security breaches exploiting human error can bypass the most sophisticated systems, and once digital money leaves an account, conventional methods of reclaiming it simply do not exist. The permanence of blockchain transactions had become an unyielding wall between him and his funds. Phil's story, while shocking, is not unique. SIM swap attacks have become an alarming global trend, particularly targeting cryptocurrency holders, but also affecting anyone relying on phone-based authentication. Reports from the FBI and Internet Crime Complaint Center indicate that millions of dollars are stolen annually through these attacks, and victims are often everyday people, not high-profile individuals. The rise in personal data leaks, social engineering tactics, and outdated verification procedures in mobile carriers has created a perfect storm for attackers. Criminals exploit human trust and procedural loopholes rather than sophisticated technology, making nearly anyone vulnerable. Financial institutions and tech platforms are beginning to recognize the danger, implementing stricter security measures, but awareness remains limited among average users. Phil's loss highlights a systemic vulnerability in the way personal identity is linked to technology. If a single phone number can provide access to years of savings, anyone could find themselves at risk. The epidemic of SIM swap fraud serves as a stark warning that convenience often comes at the cost of security. Phil Mitchnow's experience is a sobering reminder that digital security is fragile. Even careful planning cannot fully protect against human-targeted attacks. Protect your assets, stay vigilant, and never assume a simple phone number is harmless in a connected world. If you value your digital assets, secure your accounts now with authenticator apps or hardware keys, stay informed about SIM swap risks, and share this story to protect others from similar attacks.